Here's a bit about Hannibal, steam rooms, and a nasty end. Well, possibly. Just to give some context here, it's 216 BC and Hannibal has beaten Rome at Cannae, and afterwards he takes his forces west to Capua, and this is a Roman city, but he wants to take it, and he does so through treachery. There is a anti-Roman faction there which realises it can get in power if it betrays the city to him, and it manages to do that. And this leaves the pro-Romans there in a very, very hot spot, literally. Now, the big caveat here is that it occurs in Livy, and that doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen, but we need to take Livy with a bit of pinch of salt at points, and I'll come to that in a moment. But what he says happens is that after the city has gone over to Carthage, all sorts of nastiness occurs, particularly with anyone who was pro-Roman. A lot of pro-Romans go missing, and a number of them end up getting locked up in the steam room and the Roman baths there, and because of this, they expire. The question is, could this have happened? And it's a difficult one to answer. Roman baths did have hot areas, and they did have sort of steam rooms. They had hot rooms. But whether or not those could have reached the levels required is tricky, and it's probably not a conversation that I'm going to be able to have on this platform, or really want to have. What's more interesting than this is what this allows Livy to do. So what do I mean by that? Well, you've got to remember Livy's writing for an audience, and he might be doing a number of different things at the same time here. First of all, he's entertaining through the novelty of it all, but he's also adding a subtle comment. Baths were a place of civility, they were a place of peace. And so by inverting that, he's really showcasing just how bad those anti-Romans were, how bad the Carthaginians could be, how bad it could be if a city turned against Rome and the people in there suffered the consequences. And as mentioned, there's the sort of novelty entertainment of it all, there's the shock value to it. And there might even be a bit of macabre humour here going on, because by the imperial period, many Roman baths had libraries, or at least facilities that you might be able to read. So imagine, if you will, you've just read this bit before going to the baths, or just coming from the baths. It would have made the whole thing a bit more relative to you, and therefore Livy's really trying to connect with his audience. If you've got any thoughts or questions, stick them in the comments, and if you feel so inclined, why not follow?